51 miles and change from Lima, Ohio's Limaland Motorsports Park. New Weston, Ohio boasts a wide, high-banked, high-speed, half-mile bucket of mud built in the 50s. Earl Balta's vision more recently became Tony Stewart's pride and joy, hosting the World 100, Kings Royal annually, and even attracting NASCAR's Camping World Truck Series throughout the 2010s. Basically, if you want to reach the pinnacle of dirt racing, at least around Ohio, it's going to come down to Eldora. Whether it's sprint cars, whether it's late models, you come to Eldora to be the best of the best. Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. Joe Donahue joins me on the mic this evening. Corey Rexford over on social media duties. And my name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the BRP iRacing series. Thank you for tuning in across our multiple platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as we keep things in the virtual state of Ohio for the third round of the BRP iRacing Series Big Block Modified Tour. Joe, it's the first time I get to welcome you to the BRP iRacing Series booth. It's a big one this evening, just like the track. It's been a little bit since we've even been live on the page. There we go. The three of us here on the broadcast tonight, we all participated in the 24 Hours of Daytona this past weekend. Coming up in a little while on our second broadcast tonight, they all did as well. I think sans Eric Brennan. So it's been a heck of a week. It honestly feels more like a month since we've had the BRP iRacing series here on PitStop TV. But we're here this evening for race number 3 on the season, and it's promising to be a big one.
Absolutely. These guys know what they're doing with these cars. You're absolutely right about it being a long time, or at least feeling like it's been a long time since we've been on it. The 24-hour race this past weekend, there were a lot of people joined that race, and I know especially a lot of people tried to join that second session because they had a interesting time trying to sort out the fields to get everybody into the event. But nonetheless, that's behind us. We all got our respective finishes. My team did really well as well, but I love the dirt. I'm a big dirt guy out of the Pennsylvania Posse area, so this is just at home for me to be back on the scene with a half-mile dirt track and seeing some big blocks throwing mud and running the outside-inside 3 lines through the corners be much more interesting than what we're used to this past weekend on the road course.
Absolutely. I know you're a big sprint car guy, being from Pennsylvania, but these guys aren't from too far away. The Northeast Modifieds finally getting added to the iRacing.com simulator, and boy, they look and drive amazingly. Last week at Limaland, it was a bit of a rough race, not going to lie. We had a lot of cautions, really halted progress for a lot of guys and changed things up. It made it a restart kind of race, but boy, was it still exciting for the fight for the win. Ryan Susi almost took a few shots, couldn't quite get it. Thomas Richard gets his first win on the Big Block season. Of note, Thomas Richard sits 29th of 29 practice spots so far. You see some of the practice times coming in. In our 40 seconds of practice here, Joe, let's take a look at our point standings coming into this evening. And Ryan Susi, he couldn't quite get that win 1 week ago, but he does take over the points lead over Travis Miller, who we're always talking about, be it on Wednesdays or Mondays. That 22 was always in the conversation. And then Kevin Hebert, he got the win out of Volusia to open up the season. Then you get AJ Albretta, one of the newcomers to the series. Joe Matthews sitting pretty solid in 5th, being very quiet so far this season, along with Cody Higbee, only 1 extra point back. Then you get last week's winner, the 3T, scored as the 300. Then it's Brett Haas, Michael Haggett, Ryan Beagle, rounding out your top 10, and things are just very, very close. You commented when I sent you these point standings a little while ago on the fact that the top 3 are separated by just 2 points.
Yeah, any series that you see here on PitStop TV, they have their chances and their close races in the point standings. But when you see 1 point separating first and second, that's pretty special. It's pretty cool to see. And then you look down another spot and it's only 1 point further back to 3rd place in the championship. That was mind-blowing to see that, and just be so impressed by how well these guys all race with each other out on track and how close the competition really is, especially considering 1st and 2nd place don't have a win to their name yet this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything very, 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 very close. How many times can I say very? Because if you go back to 11th place, actually, 11th is actually tied with Ryan Beagle. I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but everything is that close to all the way through 11th position within 30 points of one another. Let's move on from these point standings, though. Let's get into qualifying as Ryan Beagle, who we were just talking about being in 10th place, he goes to the top of the speed charts. Quickly unseated, though, by Brandon Gruhl in the number 35. And, well, then Volusia winner Kevin Hebert going to go up to the top of the board. The 71 looking pretty good, just as always. Even at Lima Land, when we could go, I mean, it's very different racetracks to start the season out. A very flat half-mile out in Volusia. Then you get a very tight mixing bowl at Lima Land, only a quarter-mile long. Another half-mile here, but it's completely different from Volusia. And, boy, I mean, the 71 just cannot be unseated. Neither can this 79, the gentleman, Maxime Plant. He's up to third.
Yeah, Plant got that second lap in, got up to third place. I think everybody's put in their laps now. I think Travis Miller just came across the line. He was the one on my timing screen at the moment that you brought me back. Ryan Susi finished his. I think everybody has a time in, and I think everybody's got their 2 laps done. Kevin Hebert with a 16.384 at the top of the grid. A 16.416 is the small gap back, less than a tenth of a second, to the 022 on your screen. AJ Albreda with another good lap there should be on the outside of the first row.
Yeah, and of course, we'll see how everything sorts out. There's still a few cars to make a few more laps. Actually, no, I say that, and I think everybody has put in their time. So we're kind of just in a waiting game, waiting on qualifying to advance over to our heat races. Worth noting, we can have up to 4 heat races. We will hit all 4, and we'll take 4 drivers from each heat race. So we have 8 lap heats. There's 4 of them. And you're racing, really, a top 5 is just not good enough. You've got to get up, and I really think you've got to be up into the podium kind of range. You've got to be first, second, and third, because I don't think 4th is even safe. With the way we've seen these heats go so far this season, Joe, anything could still happen to any position, especially 4th place. And it's very easy to suddenly, I know a lot of these guys, you know, they're dirt racers. They are tried and true. They don't want to run the mirror, even though they have the option. They might not see 5th place coming, and they might just get unseated at the very end of their heat race. So even in 4th, you're not quite safe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the way these cars race, you really can't be on that bubble because they're kind of heavy and they slide a lot in the corners. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for slide jobs, which should be exciting racing. But obviously, if you're on the cutoff spot, if you're just in that 4th position, you are going to have to be very careful that you don't get past, because you pretty much are going to be a sitting duck with how wide this track is, that somebody can just send it down the inside and take that spot from you.
Absolutely. I think everybody's always a sitting duck here at Eldora. Anything can always happen, and the track being so wide opens itself up to a lot of big moves. Let's take a look, not at our results, at our grid, and take a look through our first heat race of 4. Kevin Hebert going to start on pole, then it's Ryan Susi in the number 38. He's so close to getting that first win of at least our coverage here on PitStop TV, so close to breaking through. Starting third in heat number 1, going to be Gavin Eisel in that number 18. Then it's Tyler Pachalski in the number 121. Starting off 5th, it's Dean Meitzer, the 49, Travis Miller, the 22. And back to our 4th and final row of our first heat, it's Richard Pereira in the 96 and Hunter Holberg in the 99H. 8 cars are ready to go for 8 laps. 4 will move on. The other 4 are going to the consolation.
Yeah, so it's going to be split down the middle at the end of this race. The top 4, obviously, like Andrew said, will be going forward, and the bottom 4 will not. Travis Miller is sitting on the outside looking in. That's going to be a driver you'll want to watch tonight. Like we said in the intro to this video, he's second in the points coming in, and we know Travis is a fast driver and one of those kind of guys who can be very patient and put the power down when he needs to and be persistent to get up into the field. So watch that 22 car on the outside.
As we take our first green flag of the evening here in just a moment, I want to thank our BRP iRacing Series partners, Bicknell Racing Products, Ravel Powder Coatings and Sandblasting, MDR Designs, Butt Kicker Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing. As we go green flag racing, a lot of new names to thank on there as well. Hebert, Susi, they're going at it up front, and here comes the 18 of Eisel down to the bottom side. We've not seen this kind of run out of him just yet this season, but he wants to move into the feature and do it with some noise. He's working on the bottom side of Pachalski now. Miller working the top, and you can see already a very multi-lane racetrack.
Yeah, that's how dirt racing seems to be, and the track's pretty new at this point in the evening still, so there's plenty of grip high in. guys. Travis Miller used the top side and some momentum down the front stretch. Got that pass done on Eisel. Holberg's going to be putting some pressure on that 18 car down the backstretch. The backstretch here at Eldora isn't quite perfectly straight, too. That's not really going to be that big of a factor throughout the night, but it might be interesting to see how that changes the run through 3 and 4, or at least the entry to turn 3 for these guys. Everybody seems to be running single file up on the top side for the moment, though, Andrew.
Yeah, I mentioned how 4th place is not going to be safe in these heat races. Right now, 4th place is reigning champion Travis Miller. Granted, it was in a different car. His speed has not faltered. Up front, still a battle between Hebert and Susie, but now this battle's starting to get spicy. Here comes Eisel. He's right on the left rear quarter panel of the 22 of Miller. I mean, he was there into 3, but you can see makes a bit of a mistake up on the top side, starts to lose a lot of time, and now is going to have to try and work back up to him. But even if he gets there, he's got to make a big move at this point. Only 2.5 laps to go.
Yeah, they're coming through 3 and 4 this time. They're going to come get 2 to go at the line. Eisel tried to run slightly lower through turns 3 and 4 and get off into turn number 1 as best as he can to get on Travis Miller's tail and try to maybe make a slider at the end. I wouldn't expect the big... Oh, he hit the wall a little bit there coming out of turn number 2. I was about to say I wouldn't expect a big move quite yet, but he's trying to charge up there and hold on at this last lap.
And it looks like he's going to fall just too short to do it. Back up to the front. Kevin Hebert still leading this thing to 71. Off and away, and it looks like Susie can't quite get there at this point. Not going to make a big move just for 2nd place. Further back, that transfer spot battle. It's going to go the way of Travis Miller. So your transfers, Kevin Hebert, Ryan Susie, Tyler Pachalski, Travis Miller. Everybody going to the consolation will be Eisel, Hulberg, Meitzler, and Pereira out of heat number 1. Of course, Joe, we've got a 2nd heat to go through, along with a 3rd and the 4th. Let's go through our 2nd lineup on the evening. AJ Albretta going to roll off from the 2nd position in the 22. Then it's Ryan Beagle coming in 10th place in points. He'll start 2nd place in heat 2. Row number 2 to be Adam Hilton and Dylan Davidson. He was in the booth with us last year. He's had a really good season so far. Granted, last week at Lima Land didn't end quite how he wanted. Rolling off 5th is Michael Wenner, then 8th. Corby the Beef Daniels in the number 88 for Beef Esports. And the back row going to look like, well, we'll get back to it. Looks like we went one too far there. The back row, 7th and 8th, going to be, oh, just Rick Rogalski. Just one car on that 4th and final row of heat number 2. Again, AJ Albretta rolling off on the pole position, one of the newcomers in our 2nd, number 22. It's becoming a popular number, just like that 84. There's a couple of 84s in the field as well. Hackett and Beagle. Beagle's in this race.
Yeah, Beagle's up in a little bit further back in the grid, and I should say that I think the track's going to be a little bit more like Heat 1 again. I think we're going to probably see some single-file racing. One thing that I had not accounted for earlier on when I was talking about the sliders we could be seeing is just the amount of grip that you have in a fresh dirt surface. I don't think the sliders are going to be as big of a factor, but over the course of these heats, you might be able to see these guys start using that to their advantage, because once the track slicks over, it gets much more difficult to keep momentum and make passes just off speed.
Coming to our 2nd green flag on the evening, Albretta is going to roll off, and not really a big jump. Side-by-side drag race to 1, and you can see there's a little bit of slick starting on the top side, but it's still grippy enough to go 3 wide in 1 and 2. Now Hilton backs off on the bottom side, and it's just off to the races for the front 2. Albretta working the bottom with Beagle. Beagle's going to get clear, though, and I think that 84 is off and away.
Hilton gave me a pretty good scare off of turn number 2 that time when they were 3 wide. Oh, we got sliding 2 cars, and there's contact behind him. Cars around in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Yellow flags are out on the racetrack. They're all going to get reset, but there's a little bit of damage right there. We'll have to set it up again, rack them and stack them, and see if we can get it going again.
And this is going to involve Davison. You mentioned right as this happened that Hilton scared you. Well, Hilton, I think, is going to be the catalyst in all of this. And it looks like off into 1 and 2. We'll see it right here. Yeah, Hilton's going to... Oh, man, he actually put 2 cars in the wall right there. One was Corby Daniels. The other that actually goes around right there is Dylan Davidson. And it looks like Corby was involved as well. And even Rick Rogalski, who was there just minding his own business, ends up caught up in this one. Caution laps do count in the heats and the consolations. They do not count once we move on to our feature race. So this will take off a few laps for us. This is going to really put these guys all on the hot seat, every single one of them, because if you make a mistake at this point, even if you're Ryan Beagle, there's no time to recover, and if you're Rick Rogalski, you've got to capitalize now on any possibility there might be. They're going to have maybe 2 or 3 laps, it looks like probably 3 when they go that green flag, so everybody's got to be quick to it.
Absolutely. I did get kind of scared by Hilton right there, but it looked like he just leaned a little bit too much on the car on his outside, so that's going to be something to learn from and to watch for the rest of the night, because you can upset the balance on these cars. They're so heavy, it's easy to upset the balance on them, and just any small amount of pressure you put on somebody in front of you, you're going to have to be aware and careful to make sure that doesn't happen. Obviously, Adam Hilton wasn't so fortunate with that move this time, but I think that's going to be something to watch for the rest of the night as well, Tim.
Lap 5 coming to lap 6 of 8. They're going to have 3 to go. That's a mile and a half, and ooh, off and away quickly. There goes Beagle. He's going to take the race lead and move on from that. Meanwhile, the transfer spot battle. Daniels on Wenner. Wenner's going to go around, and I think he goes up and over possibly. Yes, he does go for a roll. And that's a caution flag. This should end our second heat of the night under yellow flag conditions. We might be able, I don't know if we're going to extend a race, heat race for a green-white checkered. I think that's honestly going to do it. And if it does do it, that puts Rick Rogalski into the final transfer spot, moves Corby Daniels down the list, and Dylan Davidson the first one out. So Michael Wenner goes up and over. Let's take a look back at this real quickly. And, I mean, I think Corby just got in there a little bit too hard. It's hard to say because Corby restarts a row behind him. You'll see it here in just a moment. Here we go. Corby Daniels, the bottom car in the inside of the 3. And, yeah, I mean, he just gets in deep. It looks like they almost make kind of mutual moves to the middle of the racetrack, and they just meet in the middle. And, unfortunately, Wenner's the one that pays for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like Wenner was coming down off the top side a little bit more than Corby may have initially expected there. The 23 came off of the very top where the cushion is starting to form up, and obviously the two of them made contact. Unfortunate for him, but I was just about to say, and it looks like they're stacking them up right now, I got word from our man Corey Rexford that they are going to try to restack them and get this heat finished under green, which is really awesome to see that they'll be able to fight it out again. I would watch Ryan Beagle again. AJ Albreda off that initial start kind of caught everybody off guard with the late go to the green flag we saw, but Ryan Beagle was wasting no time that run around, and I think that might be something he uses to his advantage again. We'll have to wait and see when they go green off turn number 4.
Hey, I'm certainly not disappointed to see another go at some green flag racing, but it is surprising to see a green-white checkered and an extension of the race distance here for a heat race of all things. But Beagle going to have to defend once more. Going to have now, it looks like, 11 laps in this second heat. And Beagle and Albright immediately off to the races. Hilton, oh, Davidson makes a little bit of contact with Rogalski. That's good for 4th place, but what will Rogalski do in return?
Rogalski goes down low. They're about 3 wide through 3 and 4 at the tail end of this one. Pressure on the 23 car. Michael Wenner making a pass up into that transfer spot for the moment. Watch Daniels to pull some momentum off of the bottom, or off the top side. Now he moved right up in line as they come out of 3 and 4 again. A little bit to the side, not enough momentum.
Whoa!
23 is going to get the transfer,
synchronized
and they slide it
spin
across the line.
Synchronized spin out of Davidson and Daniels. Daniels just made a little bit of contact. Neither one of them move on. Rogalski got that final spot. So we'll see a bunch more of them in our consolation races. But first, let's talk about our lineup for heat number 3. We're going to lead off with the gentleman Maxime Plant in the 79. Reverse his number. We got Cody Higbee up on the top side of row number 1. Row number 2, it's Michael Hackett. Boy, disappointing evening for him yesterday. The Bills fan of the series, unfortunately seeing his team get eliminated, but Cody McPherson will start up on the outside of him. Rolling back to row number 3, we got Randy Giroux and Brian Berger. Back to row 4. Position number 7, it's David DiPietro rounding out our 3rd heat race on the evening. Let's hope we don't have to extend this one for an extra couple of laps here, Joe, but that was pretty good racing. But I think Randy Giroux going to try and do what Dylan Davidson couldn't do and capitalize from 5th place, get back up into 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. Giroux's going to be on the charge. I think that the track's starting to come in a little bit, that 5th place might not be the worst spot to start. Obviously, the inside line is going to let you have a nice run into turn 1 and 2 the first time. I don't know if getting into the top 4 in that first corner is necessarily going to guarantee you anything. I mean, certainly the race isn't over till it's over, but running off the inside is a good start for that car.
Absolutely going to help the big show out, and we'll come to our third green flag of the night. Maxime Plant on point. Then it's Cody Higbee alongside him. The green flag flies. We're off and away. Once again, I want to thank all of our partners here at the BRP iRacing series. Holy cow, Maxime Plant off and away very quickly, but Higbee got a run up out of 2. Here comes Hackett now as well, not wanting him to get lonely up front. Meanwhile, McPherson gets unseated for 4th place, and it's going to be Randy Giroux up into 4th.
Giroux ran just lower through 3 and 4 that time, now slides up in front. They're single file up on the top side. Watch out for the 60 of Brian Berger down low. Still the only driver down there. I believe everybody else has moved up to the cushion, sliding up a little bit as Berger. DePetro sideways in the wall, regains control. We stay green. Now he's going to lose it on the front stretch.
Cody McPherson around right past the start finish line. Is the caution going to come out? Because he is in the racing line. Now he gets down to the bottom side. We're still green flag racing. Maxime Plant is going to come around. Now we get the caution flag for McPherson, and now we'll re-rack him, restack him. And boy, I think this is the first time we've had 2 back-to-back heats with caution flags all season. And it is going to be for McPherson. We saw it live. Brian Berger just slid up in front of him. And well, I shouldn't even say in front of him. He was not clear yet. And ends up making some pretty big contact. And it's enough to send the 7 onto the catch fence here at Eldora. And that's going to rip the rear end housing out. You can see him crab walking around this place. That car is not going to make the feature in that kind of condition.
Yeah, if I were McPherson, I might just want to park it because, I mean, obviously, like you said...
he was trying to.
He was trying to get down into the pits here, but with that kind of damage and so little time left in this race, especially considering we are counting the yellow flag laps, there's almost no point. I hate to say it. I hate to be negative about it, that sort of thing, because you never want to give up, but McPherson in a really tough spot right now. We saw it on the stream. I mean, we were riding on board with that car. Berger just wasn't quite clear, and obviously you have to give a lot of respect to your fellow drivers out on track when you're trying to make moves, because you have to be aggressive as a dirt driver. You have to be a little self-centered, but at the same time, when you aren't, you end up crashing people or yourself. And unfortunate situation. Berger obviously wasn't trying to be an antagonist in that situation to McPherson, as we see the 7 car coming back out on track, so he's going to at least try to finish it out on the course with the rest of them.
Coming to lap number 7, Maxime Plant fires off and away. He gets a big jump on Cody Higbee, who's now going to have to worry about Hackett and the big show, Randy Giroux, up into 4th place. But here comes Berger right through the middle. And Higbee, how about that crossover on Hackett? Almost cleared them all on his own. Now he'll do so with a small slide job off into 3. That was a huge run out of turn 2. Side by side, though, go Berger and Giroux. Final lap of heat number 3, racing it out for the transfer spot.
I was concerned about Higbee's restart that time. He lost a lot of momentum from the cars on the bottom side as the checkered flags are going to come out for this session. Plant's going to be the winner. 2 cars wrecking on the inside of 3 and 4. Race to the line for the transfer spot. Giroux is going to be making the big show tonight out of getting 4th place in the heat. Thank you, sir. That was a good one. That
was a good segue right there. I like that one with Randy Giroux. Let's line him up one more time. Let's see our lineup for heat number 4. On pole, it's Brandon Gruel, the number 35G, then Thomas Richard, last week's winner in the 300. Well, scored us a 300, visually the 3T of Thomas Richard. Rolling off 3rd place, going to be Jamie Porter in the number 45, and I think that's one of his best starting spots so far this season. Big moves for that 45 car. MDR Design Zone, Matt DeRitter rolling off 4th place. Starting 5th in heat number 4, going to be Dan Sider, then it's Joe Matthews in the number 1. Rolling off caboose on this heat, it's going to be Alan Wills in the number 11. 7 cars set to go for 8 laps. This is one of the first times that we've had heats with just 7 cars in them so far this season, so maybe Eldora not the most popular track, which is, it's a weird thing. I've noticed that myself with some drivers here on iRacing. It seems like they're not all that big of a fan of Eldora, but when you go to a place like Limeland, everybody comes out of the woodworks.
Yeah, the way that Eldora races is it's just more tricky. Lima Land obviously more banked. Eldora's wide. Eldora's flatter. But I would have thought there'd be a little bit of draw to Eldora. I mean, I personally like Eldora. That's coming from a guy from Pennsylvania, though. So the half miles are more my speed. I know a lot of places in this country they aren't as big on the half miles.
Yeah, no, I'm of the same thought. I would rather go and race at Eldora personally. I love Lima Land. I love Eldora. They're just the same. But you know what? I feel like I'm not going to get taken out quite as easily at a place like Eldora. We'll see who might or might not get taken out here in heat number 4. Brandon Gruel going to lead us to the green flag. We are off and away. And the green flag, number 4 of the evening. How about the run? Thomas Richard, that's the first time we've seen the top side really work right off the start. Gruel works the bottom right on the inside wall. You can't quite do that at this point. It's starting to get worn out down there, and he's going to pay for it.
Yeah, it is getting worn out down there. You see Thomas Richard going to be leading us past this time. Down on the inside, Gruel is holding on and pretty well. This is really cool to see that we got this 2 lines of pretty equal speed going on. 3 wide through the middle of the corner. DeRitter's in the middle. Gruel on the outside has the best run with the most momentum, and that's going to be an easy slide into spot number 2 for the time being, but DeRitter's still all over his tail. DeRitter's got Porter on his end, though, giving him plenty of pressure down behind.
Off and away is Thomas Richard. He was bottom of the practice charts a little while ago. Now he's top of his heat. And here comes a massive slider. Joe Matthews trying to get up to Jamie Porter. Couldn't quite do it. Now a 3-car battle, 2nd through 4th. Porter wants to get off of that cushion spot. Oh, and he's going to get into Brandon Gruel, who over-rotated. Contact even more. Now with the 84 of Sider and the 45 of Porter. Porter loses spots. He's now out of the feature race. But he can race himself back in as Dan Sider's just right ahead. That is the transfer spot now, the 84-45. Oh, and Porter working the bottom, tried to get up there, couldn't quite do it, doesn't quite stick. Matthews is in now pretty safely along with DeRitter. Now the big move from Porter. He pulls a Sider, but he can't quite get in front of Sider. It's such a wide racetrack, you've really got to have a ton of momentum to do it.
Yeah, if you're going to make a slider, you got to do what Porter did that time through. He ran off the bottom really nicely and pulled as much speed as he could through the middle. The 84 Sider goes for a slider and hits the top side wall. That's what you got to be careful about when you pull those sliders, is getting that momentum under control and sliding the car sideways before you hit that cushion, so when you get up top, you don't run into the wall, which unfortunately happened through that time. White flag out. This one's going to come around.
No, that was checkers right there. It's Richard, DeRitter, Matthews, Porter going on to the feature from this one. They keep racing. So you know what? You're right. I jumped the gun on that one. I apologize, Joe, because I, for some reason, had read that wrong, and now I'm eating my own words, and I walked all over you, and now I feel bad. You know what? It happens sometimes, because we've had plenty of times in road racing where sometimes the final lap is displayed at the wrong time. We don't quite get it. That time we were too early. And,
hey, it happens to the best of us. No biggie.
It's been such a terrible week. I shouldn't say terrible, but a tiring weekend. Oh, we're all tired.
Big fact. I don't know about you, Andrew. Well, you ran the first split of the iRacing 24. The second split had a 5-hour delay before it even started. So at least, I don't know about you, but for me, I woke up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, which is unheard of, and then waited 5 hours and then did a 24-hour race and stayed up the whole time. I got an hour of sleep from Saturday morning to Sunday night. So I don't know about you, but I'm still feeling the effects of that one, and obviously, you know, you can only do so much with what you got, but hopefully over the week we'll get our feet back underneath us and figure out how to regain some normalcy in our lives.
It was certainly a weekend and a half. Gavin Eisel, though, going to be rolling off on the far side of the weekend for his consolation race on pole. David DiPietro going to start in second. Then it's going to be row number 2 with Hunter Hallberg in the 99H and Brian Berger in the 60. And row number 3 of consolation number 1 going to be Dean Meitzler and Cody McPherson, which means since we're taking 5 out of this consi, Joe, we're only sending 1 home. It would currently be McPherson in the number 7. You say you ran the second race of the 2 Daytona 24s, buddy. I ran a few laps in both. I think it was 412 total laps. It was certainly an undertaking to turn laps in either one. And boy, you know what? If anybody out there watching was in your own team and ran some laps in this weekend's 24. Let us know how you fared. And, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of these dirt guys made it over into that race just to see what it was like. And I think that's one of the crossovers that I think is really, really cool when you can take a dirt guy and put him on road. But, meanwhile, coming to the green flag for Consi number 1, contact between our front row starters, DiPietro on the outside and Eisel on the bottom. Now they'll get green flag racing. They're off and away to the races.
That little contact on the start, that didn't look like it had any major influence on how either of these cars are going to handle. And actually, these cars are built and set up to take a little bit of a beating before any major damage is done to your speed and whatnot. But it was interesting. I wonder if that's going to have any effect on these guys over the rest of the evening. You can see we're just dropping to the tail with DiPietro right now. Eisel in the lead, Hulberg second, Berger third, and now that 68 machine is going to be dropping back into that only spot in this consolation that isn't going to be going into the A main tonight. So going to have to figure something out here with this 68 car if he wants to move on. I was going to say, when DiPietro was catching Meitzler in the middle of the turn, the 49 car got it a little bit wrong, and I thought DiPietro might be able to pull around him, but obviously didn't quite get it caught underneath the 68 machine and get down low to make that pass, and you can see the time has just increased and increased to the fifth place car in front of him. So unless he starts really putting together some good laps right now, I don't know if we're going to be able to see any challenge at the moment. We only got about 2.5 laps around this track, but it is good to see this little battle shaking up. The 60 and the 7 are going to be fighting for third place right now. McPherson on the outside, or at least the middle of the track, as Berger ran way low through 3 and 4. That time, he's just going to try to protect down on the bottom for the time being.
You can see where these cars have been racing, the bottom and the top. They're trying to now go through the middle, which is very interesting. It's a little bit weird to see a big modified roll through the center of the racetrack trying to find the good dirt, but that's what these guys are doing. Berger's still working a bit lower than McPherson, but you can see McPherson doesn't want to get too high up the racetrack. He's really keeping his right rear below the slick stuff, and it's working for him on exit, but I think Berger is just getting enough on entry that he's staying ahead. Now McPherson going to try the cushion. What can he do? This is the only battle on the racetrack, and it's not even for a transfer spot. Meitzler's got plenty of time on DiPietro.
Yeah, and that's tough for DiPietro. They're starting up at the front end of the field and just dropping back. Nothing that he could do at this point. Meitzler has a over 1 second lead. My apologies. Only 1 second in between those two cars, but on a track like this, it's just not going to happen. And as you see them coming through this time, unfortunately, we're going to be sending that 68 car to the hauler for the evening.
But that does give way to our second consolation race on the evening. Starting on pole, it's going to be Dylan Davidson in the number 73. Then it's Dan Sider to his outside. Corby the Beef Daniels rolling off third place. Then Alan Wills rolling out 11th. Rick Rogalski, he will start off this second consi in 5th. Then it's Brandon Gruhl, who we saw start on pole for his heat race, then quickly go to the back, a little bit of contact, really not working his way. Richard Pereira will round out our second consi of the evening, giving us 7 cars, interestingly, here in consi number 2, even though we only had 6 in the first one. A bit interesting the way that worked out, but pace car lights are off. We're going to have one more go around. This isn't where we're restarting. We'll have one more lap around for Dylan Davidson and the other 6 trying to make the feature. 2 cars will go home.
Yeah, so like you said, it is kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure, and I mean, I'm not one to be very educated on it, but why that would be that the first one had 6 and the second one has 7. But nonetheless, those last 2 transfers, we're going to probably be watching a little bit better contact and racing with those cars at the tail of this one, having more cars trying to gun it to get into that 5th spot, coming to the green this time. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pretty nice run into turn number 1 with the track slicking out a little bit and try to get that run done in that first corner.
Green flag, green flag.
Here, there, green flag comes out onto lap 1 of 10, and off and away goes Davidson. And we're going to see if that 73 can finally hold on to a pretty good run. Corby Daniels trying to clear, that would be Sider, can't quite do it for second place just yet. And wow, they both close way up on the 73, really almost 3 wide out of turn number 4 to complete lap 1. Corby Daniels gets it, but further back, the battle for the transfer spot is on. Richard Pereira's got tons of company. He's up 2 spots to start off his consolation race, which puts Gruhl down a couple, as well as Alan Wills, who's now out of this thing. If this were to end now, he's losing a lot of time up top.
Yeah, the top seems like it's slowing down a little bit. When everybody uses it up and it slicks out really quickly, you actually have a little bit of time where the middle and the bottom side are the optimum place for grip, and it looks like that might be happening right now. You see a nice battle on your screen. They seem to go single file this time through Pereira. You see him out the tail, trying to put pressure on, and like I said, the middle seems to have a lot of grip at this current moment in time, which is why everybody who we had been seeing run way up at the cushion throughout the beginning of this evening is now all over the place in the middle and bottom of the racetrack.
On board with Gruhl, who's trying to make it into his feature race of the evening. You know what? Pereira's doing a great job in 4th, and Rogalski, I think, has just been slightly overtaken. He has by Gruhl. Rogalski's sick and tried and true to that top side. It's going to come back to bite him currently, as he's going to get passed up at the line, but anything can still happen. They're still side by side, and Pereira's still in this. Now 3 wide into turn 2 with Pereira, the meat and the sandwich between Davidson and Gruhl. Gruhl sends it on the bottom, and Rogalski's just waiting for his opportunity to try and capitalize, try and pounce on this. Gruhl's still the third of these 3 battling, and he's on the outside. No, he's now on the inside looking to try and advance his starting position, but now the fight back is Rogalski.
Yeah, Rogalski's starting to make it known. Look it down on the inside, the blue and black number 73 held up, the rest of them behind. I think the 96 is going to ring the middle. I think some momentum might get Pereira up into 3rd spot before this is all said and done, but this is all of these guys are racing right on the edge of even making this event right now. So to find Gruhl, I'm concerned about that car up on the top side. Rogalski's got tons of momentum. They're almost 4 wide through 1 and 2 there.
This is great Eldora racing. Now Pereira in that final spot to move on. So close are Gruhl and Davidson. Gruhl's still not safe right here. Pereira's trying to get back by him and put him in 5th place. What can Rogalski do on this final lap? Will go on board into 3 and 4. Wow, 3 wide down the backstretch once more. This is Rogalski's chance to try and make the race. Can't quite do it. Very sideways into the corner. Going to lose a ton of time. And it's going to be Daniel, Sider, Davidson, Gruhl, and Pereira moving on. Not quite in that order. They really jumbled up across the line. But that will be that for Pereira. Sorry, for Rogalski, as he gets eliminated. The fireworks already going off here at Eldora. That's because they do them to go into the race. Let's check out our 26-car grid. Joe Donahue is going to lead off with none other than Volusia winner Kevin Hebert in the number 71. It's going to be Ryan Beagle rolling off in 2nd place. And wow, these fireworks are loud. There you see him. And Ryan Beagle rolling off 2nd place. Rolling off 3rd, going to be Maxime Plant, the gentleman on the inside of Thomas Richard, last week's winner. 5th place going to go to Ryan Susi here on the start. He's trying to break through for that first win here on PitStop TV, and AJ Alberta rolls off from 6th. Rolling off 7th, it's Cody Higby in the 97, then Matt DeRitter to his outside in 8th, and to round out the top 10, Joe Donahue, it's Tyler Petralski and Adam Hilton.
We'll throw it back to row number 6, that 484 machine. Michael Hackett going to be starting in 11th, and his outside will be Joe Matthews in the number 1. I like your first name, bud. Starting 13th on the grid, the number 22 machine is Travis Miller, and his outside will be the 23 of Michael Wenner. Starting in 15th, Randy Giroux in the 24, and his outside, Jamie Porter, going to be rolling in 16th in the 45 machine. 17th spot, Gavin Eisel, number 18, and his outside's going to be Corby Daniels in the 88. Rounding out the 10th row on this grid, Hunter Holberg, Dan Sider.
Final 6 cars on the grid going to look like this. Berger, Pereira, then it's McPherson, then it's Davidson. The final row going to be Meitzler and Brandon Gruhl, just barely sneaking in to this feature race. See the field in 1 and 2 right there, getting formed up, getting ready to go for 40 laps of action. That's 20 miles. Wouldn't quite get you back up to Lima Land, Ohio, but these front runners, they're going to try and walk away with, well, your second win if you're on the bottom side, if you're Hebert right there, but your first win if you're Beagle. How about this opportunity for the 84? Let's see what he can do on the first of 40. Wow, a big stack up on the bottom side. Hebert caught sleeping on his own start.
I don't know if Hebert hit the brakes just even the slightest bit.
We're calling that one
start,
back.
But yeah, they're going to call that one back. I think there might have been a jump off of Ryan Beagle at the very beginning. We'll wait and see what they do. I think we're just going to restack them here and get a second attempt at the green. But you were right. Hebert absolutely caught sleeping on his own start. And as the leader, you should be the one to lead everybody in. But obviously that didn't quite happen this time.
And you'll see we'll take the ticker away for a moment while they sort scoring out. And, of course, these caution laps don't count either, so we're not going to run away laps here while we try and sort this one back out. I didn't see anyone slow, so I'm pretty certain this is just to restart the race, basically, to call that one back and say, nope, we're doing that one again. And that's actually a really common thing that you see in local track racing, be it pavement or dirt, but you don't see on iRacing because that timing and scoring gets sorted out automatically, and it's not a common thing. Especially since you can't manually change the lap count. So it's something that I think is cool to have come in, even though it does slow our race down.
Yeah, and it does keep everybody honest and keep everybody's roles proper to be able to restart them, like we said, with Hebert being the one that should be leading us to the green, or at least giving the go-ahead to the rest of the field to get on the throttle. So for that, it is really cool to see. And thankfully, since we're not running caution laps in this feature, we're not into this race quite yet. We're on our way to start this 40-lap event. But I'll tell you, I'm still wondering, 40 laps is a long time for a track that already has seen some racing tonight. I think by the end of this race, this track's going to be used up.
It absolutely will be just a bit, but we'll see just how used up it is now when 26 cars get roaring back to life. Hebert, your leader, and he does lead off into one immediately up to the top side to clear Beagle. And wow, they're 2-3 wide through the entire field. Susie down to the bottom side. Gentleman gets clear of him, and now the caution flag will come out. It's Cody McPherson turned around out of turn number 2.
McPherson trying to get that car straightened away. The pace car phases through, no trouble. He's, I think, okay damage-wise. That car looks like it should be able to hold on and keep charging through this field. He's got a tall task ahead of him now that he's going to be starting from the tail. We'll catch a replay, and we'll see what became of this incident. Gavin Eisel, the car we're riding with right here, there is our man, Cody McPherson, in the middle of 1 and 2. Oh, actually, that's Wenner. That's too many names to just call off the top. But McPherson, the only one that got held up long enough for us to catch at the end. That was, I think, Wenner at the very beginning of that incident, right in the middle of the pack, and just included almost every car behind him.
Yeah, it started off with guys like Michael Wenner up there, and I think Jamie Porter was in some of that, but ended up with McPherson, the last car to roll away from the crime scene almost in turn number 2. There were a lot of cars turned around. Davidson got a piece of it. Corby Daniels got a piece of it. A lot of guys getting involved in that one out of turn number 2. But hey, we get a chance to re-rack them, restack them, as we always say, and go back green flag racing momentarily. It's technically lap 2. We'll be coming around to complete that once we take the green flag, roll on to lap number 3. And unfortunately, we're starting pretty closely to how we ended Lima Land, but we've got to get some of these laps in, and I think these guys can do it. It's just going to take a second for them to get this out of their system, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think that the track, if you're talking about the way they raced at Lima Land versus here, I think they're going to have to get used to the flatter surface, because when the track's banked more, you can run a little bit more momentum into the corner and rely on your rear tire to keep you going. Oh, a bad restart on the top side for Ryan Beagle. The inside's going to be the place to go this time. Susie goes way to the bottom. They're 3 wide for the race lead out of turn number 2.
commonplace at this point as Susie digs in the bottom side. What a run he got. Side by side still with Plant and Hebert's up on the top. Here comes Beagle back side by side with Plant. Plant puts him in the wall. Hilton's in all of this as well. No, it's Thomas Richard actually moving his way through this mess. Oh my, Albretta's in the middle of it. It's too tough to call. 4 wide, almost into 3.
Almost 4 wide. I'm watching Richard on the bottom right now. That 3 car is hooked up, and he can put that car basically anywhere he wants on the surface right now. Get grip out of it. He's trying to get Ryan Beagle right now for 4th spot. We're riding on board
Caution's
just
out.
behind him as the yellow comes out. We were on board with Travis Miller. We're going to check out what happened here and see why we got this second yellow of our race. Somebody was upside down there.
It looks like it's a possibility, and of course, it happened a lot in our previous season with the sprint cars. It's not quite as commonplace in these big block modifieds, but it does still happen, as we've already seen so far this evening with Wenner in his heat. But Dean Meitzler, I think, is the one going up and over this time. And oh, it starts with Holberg. Wow, I mean, there was nowhere for Wenner or Meitzler to go, and Meitzler does go up and over, and that is likely going to at least put a damper on, if not end his day, as he's going to have to take the tow back to the pit lane here at Eldora Speedway. Big troubles for him. But up at the front, man, how about that racing we had for a couple of laps? Nothing beats getting 3-4 wide at Eldora. Nothing beats it.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see it. I'm glad that the middle line is running as well as it is right now, because obviously you can't go 3 wide without 3 lanes of track, and the top side's worked in to the point where it's pretty solid. They're running on a cushion right now, so they've got a little bit of help up top. The bottom side is always one of the grippiest places to be on the track, always a solid place to try to put yourself, and it works well for the guys down low, but the middle seems to be working really well for some of these guys. I'd be watching it over the course of the run, but I think by the end of this one, I'd be watching more the cushion than the inside. These cars run really well with momentum. I think that's really important to keep in mind.
So, coming to another restart. We got a couple of laps in that time, which is helping us out here a little bit, but still got to get into one of those grooves that we've seen these guys do a couple of times. In fact, I'd think back to Volusia, where we got in a great groove. It was great racing through and through. A couple of cautions, though, holding us up. This will be the 3rd restart for the start of the night, though, as, wow, Hebert, big run right off the start once more. Maxime Plant side by side with Susie now as they fight through 1 and 2.
Plant's been kind of making his time up on the inside throughout this start of the race, so I'd be watching the 79 to try to get some time in on the bottom side. You see they're 4 wide behind him. Travis Miller was the car immediately behind him. They single file out, well, they don't single file out. They go to 2x2. Miller with maybe a slider, gets a tap in the tail from the other number 22 machine out on track right now. Albreda gave him a little shove when he came up onto the top line. I think we've got Richard running down low, trying to use the momentum out of the middle of the corner, and maybe a slider from the 3 machine, not quite going to get there this time on Susie. Going to allow Plant to get some run down the inside.
That was a hell of a way to try and set up a slider for Richard, but unfortunately ends up setting up the pass for Maxime Plant. He gets on by, who was 3rd place. That was Thomas Richard in the number 3T. Now he's trying the bottom side once more as Plant tries to go to work on Susie. Can't quite do anything there. And Beagle now going to bring Miller into this fight. You see Richard immediately get to the top side and say, nope, I don't want to lose another spot. And Beagle is going to have to try and work the middle of the racetrack as Miller is then going to use the top to get on by. Quite obviously right now, it's one of those racetracks you've got to be up top until it wears out.
Yeah, for the time being, it seems like the top is the way to go, but as everybody runs it more and more, the bottom's going to be a place that you might see people start to run. Susie out of turn number 4 that time, had Plant slide up in front. That 79 machine goes into 2nd place. Nobody challenging Hebert quite yet, although the race for 2nd, now that it has died down, might allow Plant to get quite up there with that 71 machine. You might be always in the wall through the middle of 3 and 4. That's definitely not going to be helping.
Pachalski turned around on the backstretch, going to halt our progress once more. It's now lap 11 of 40. And oh my, Dean Meitzler late to the party, but Pachalski just pulls up in front of him. Thankfully, the contact wasn't too heavy, but it is going to really scare and possibly upset that 49 of Dean Meitzler. We'll find out what happens to Pachalski here momentarily. He is the yellow and blue numbered number 121 on the bottom side, and Matthews and Pereira are behind, but not quite alongside of him. I wonder if there's some contact up ahead. Yeah, there is with Giroux and, oh, wow, that was Dan Sider, and then it's just a chain reaction. Matthews ends up giving him the shot in the shorts to spin him around, and unfortunately, Puchalski around on the backstretch, and that's going to hinder, if not end his day. But up front, Kevin Hebert, still your race leader, and everything that was starting to calm down is right back together again.
Yeah, this is definitely going to stack them back up as they go double file again for the restart. It did calm down once they got single file at the front end of the field. We got some really great racing in before this yellow came out. I don't think there's anything Puchalski could have really done. He had a car on his outside and then got a little bit of love in the rear to send him around on the backstretch and bring out this yellow again. But I'd be watching to see how these guys react to now going back to double file racing after getting into a groove single file.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the longest of runs. We're only on to lap 12 of 40 now, so let's be realistic here. But I mean, still, you get into a groove suddenly, and it doesn't take very long, I'd say, on dirt racing. I think it's quicker to get into a groove on a little dirt oval than it is at a place like the Daytona Road Course, for sure. So you can get in that groove a little bit more quickly, but even so, I think we were still just trying to figure out how a run was going to go when that caution came out for Puchalski in the back. But hey, maybe these guys will prove me wrong and you correct there, Joe. Up front, still the 71 of Hebert. Alongside now, Plant on the top side. This gives Susie a chance to do something on the bottom. We'll see what he can do. This time into one, a very early start compared to the previous couple, and Hebert's off and away. Here comes the 38. What can he do on the bottom?
Susie ran way low, tried to slide up a little bit. Plant was already there. Miller made a little bit of contact with Richard out of the middle of the corner. They're 3 wide in behind. Now they're 4 wide, racing for 4th place. Out of the turn again. Hebert's got pressure from Plant. I think that's one of the first times we've seen a little bit of pressure on the race leader right now. Miller slid up way to the top over Albreda, who slides back underneath a crossover between the 222 cars. Right now, the 97 of Higbee down on the inside. Richard still playing with these guys. Higbee to the bottom again on Richard, running pretty solidly on the inside of this 3-car train that's gone single file on the top.
We're keeping an eye on that lead battle, but right now this stuff is just too good not to look at. And oh, DeRitter, a big run on the bottom side, and oh, 3 wide, but a caution flag comes out once more. This time, Hunter Holberg, the 99H, going to be turned around out of turn number 2, and that seems like the trouble spot for sure. And I mean, that feels normal, I'd say, for Eldora Speedway, for turn 2 to be the problem spot. And we'll see what happens to Holberg as he's on the inside of Hilton right there, and Matthews on the top side as well. What happens up ahead? Oh, actually 3 wide with Matthews, and there was no contact. The 99 just went around. That's an odd one.
Holberg's been involved in a couple incidents, not by any of his doing, but Hunter's been having a tough evening in that 99 car, and this just adds to it. Like you said, I don't think there was a lot of contact right there, but like we said before, these cars are kind of heavy, so any little upset that you give to the balance of the weight on this machine is going to hinder your performance and set you back if you can't get it under control quickly. So unfortunate stuff for Hunter Holberg right there. Gets sent to the tail with a spin down the back.
Hope everybody's having a pretty good Monday night out there on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching from. I want to remind everybody that we've got some great partners here for the BRP iRacing series, leading off with, of course, Bicknell Racing Products, of course, Rival Powder Coatings and Sandblasting, MDR Designs, Butt Kicker, a new partner, along with Jam Performance, a new partner, and Miller's Auto Detailing, a new partner. Don't want to forget our partners here at PitStop TV, Tucson Sound Art, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, and Whiplash Media. We'll talk more about all of them here shortly. Coming back to a green flag, it's lap 14, coming to 15 of 40, and off and away goes Hebert in the 71, but 3 wide across the line goes Susie, Albreda, and Plant, and oh my, the 79 very lucky to get out of that 4 wide, the couple of 22s on the bottom side making contact. Miller up the racetrack, he's in the Beagle.
They were almost 5 wide at the turn 2 that time, but they did go 4.
That's 5! Whoa!
There they were 5 wide out of turn number 4 that time. This is getting really exciting. They're still 4 wide in the middle of 3 and 4 that time. A whole slew of cars going 4 wide, 4 wide, 4 wide, 4 wide. You're watching Travis Miller now slide up over Ryan Beagle. He slides down underneath. Richard down to the bottom. They were 3 wide across that time as well. They're going to maybe be 4 wide again. Watch Miller in the middle. Oh, he almost made contact with the 45 runner underneath him.
Porter's there. Oh, Thomas Richard, that massive dive. He gets around Porter. Porter crosses him back up, and there's still 3 wide into 1. Everything up front, single file. This is the best action on the racetrack. Miller's going to drive off and away, gets that big run, but watch the dive into 3 and 4 possibly once more. Porter's going to make it. Slide job from the 45. The 3 going to cross him back over.
Porter kind of came out of nowhere off of that restart. He was kind of keeping it cool at the beginning of this race, but we're about halfway in, so it's starting to get to crunch time. Porter goes to the inside a little bit. Richard bobbled a little in 1 and 2. On the top again, a slide.
Whoa, Albreda!
Oh, we got cars involved in an accident in the middle of 3 and 4. Coming past the line again. Richard to the bottom of Miller. Yellow flag definitely going to be coming out. We're just sliding all over the place through 3 and 4.
That was Albreda turned up and over, and he makes some kind of contact up ahead. We were just about to go up to the front of the field, Joe, to see what was happening up there, and it looks like Susie, Higbee, and Albreda were just locked into a battle here. Higbee, I don't even know if he was up front. Albreda, oh, he made contact with the wall all on his own, and I mean, he's parked up on the top side. There's nowhere any of these guys can go at that point. You set your slide and you're committed to a line, and Albreda gets tossed around like a salad. He gets turned upside down and over. And you don't want to have turnovers for breakfast, whether you're Tom Brady or AJ Albreda. He's going to be turned over and done.
I was trying to keep track of the puns in that statement.
It was a string of them. I don't really know how or where those came from.
I appreciated all of them. But yeah, I was going to say, into turn number 3, it looked like a couple guys actually got up into the wall. I wonder if the track's just working in more than they expected or if they got a little aggressive there. But like you said, tossed like a salad. That was probably my favorite one out of that group. Unfortunately, Albreda, who was really charging on moving that car up to the front of the field and just got it all wrong into turn number 3 that time on his own, got up into the wall completely alone, but then with the spin and the contact with the cars behind, nothing he could do at that point, just kind of a sitting duck waiting for the caution to come out and the car to reset.
Tossed like a salad might have been the only good one. Look at how slicked off this racetrack is. I mean, it's not completely black out there, but it's certainly dried out. And there's just no grip for these big block modifieds. The fact that they have such big motors, I think, already hurts them in terms of the grip department. But now the racetrack kind of working against them. We'll see what Kevin Hebert and company can do on this restart. He's been getting some good starts as of the last couple of attempts, but those first few were a bit rough. Let's see what he can do this time. It's lap 20 coming to 21. Oh, he hits Plant up the racetrack. Goes to 79. Oh my, Maxime Plant just lost 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah, that was I don't know if I'd say that's a little dirty there because I'm sure he didn't try to hit Plant on the top side, but unfortunately that 79 gets sent way back. And
I think we've just called that one back because there's nobody stopped, there's nobody slow. I think that one just got called back again.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them for that. Nothing that 79 car could have done about that little quarrel that happened coming back to the restart. Maybe if they could let Plant get up there, that would be really cool. I don't know if they're going to be able to because, like we've said earlier in this broadcast, the timing and scoring in iRacing isn't really something that anybody in the session can necessarily control, per se. But, yeah, that was probably the right call for them to stop them from continuing forward and let that 79 at least get his bearings underneath him with what happened under that restart. That was just a tough thing to see. Really unfortunate situation for Plant, running so well, just barely starting to put pressure on Hebert for the race lead. We'd seen it developing a couple times before we got those last few yellows that Plant was coming, and I think we could have had a nice battle for the lead in due time, but obviously caught out and unfortunate contact before they even came back to the green.
Well, it's not going to put Plant back up alongside, but I mean, the car just kicked out, obviously, as happens. They're dirt cars. They get sideways, and as soon as Hebert got on the throttle, the car kicked sideways, as you'd expect, and it just completely bodied the 79. It was nothing, I don't think, even close to dirty. It was unfortunately just what sometimes happens when you're racing and you're coming to a restart tightened up like that, side by side by side by side. And unfortunately, it bit Hebert. He's back to 6th place, so he loses 4 spots when it's all said and done. Hebert going to try it again. That time when it jumps up on the bars, it stays a bit more straight and doesn't hit anybody. So we're good to go on this one. And oh, Susie in the wall. Higbee working the bottom side. So Higbee is up in this. I don't know where the 97 came from, but he's looking good doing it.
Travis Miller went all the way to the bottom. The only car all the way down there, but they're 3 wide to that spot. Fighting for 4th place. We've got the 97, or the 79, sorry, we've got a car upside down, and we're going to have to stop them all and get that car reset. I think that was Holberg again?
It sure was. Hunter Holberg has really had a terrible time so far this evening. We'll see what happens to him in this, the latest incident for the 99H. You know what? What do you say we ride on board with him for this one? This is Hunter Holberg's view of the 99H. Scored just the 99. And kind of drives it in straight there on the bottom side. No harm, no foul. There's, 3, 4 wide up ahead. Oh, there's contact with Hackett and McPherson. Sorry, not Hackett. Wenner and McPherson. And unfortunately, going to leave Holberg rolled on over. That's a tough one, too, because he was on his wheels up until that last bounce, and the suspension just kind of being as it is, a lot of rebound, just rolls him back on over.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it stopped the way it did. I feel like it should have probably allowed the car to roll over a little bit more being on the banking. Unfortunately, Hunter Holberg had to reset the car and tow it back to the pits because of how it ended up. Tough break for him. Like I'd said earlier when he was involved in a yellow earlier on, Hunter's been having a tough evening and just trying to get that car to the finish. The 99H has been involved in a couple wrecks, and that's definitely not adding anything good to it.
Coming to yet another green flag. It's lap 22. Coming to lap 40. We'll take our speed shot here out of turn number 4. Hebert that time chose the top side. Susie trying to work with the bottom, and they all go ripping by the flag stand off into turns 1 and 2. What can Hebert do? He's got that lead, of course, but I think Susie's got a piece to go up there and race him down to the bottom side. Goes to 38. He's going to try and work it in. Doesn't find anything down there just yet, but I mean, he looked pretty solid down there. There's not, I think, the speed he needs to be able to gain. I say that, and then holy cow, he gets almost alongside of the 71 on entry, just loses it in center.
A really great run off the corner for being down in the center of the racetrack, though. I was surprised at how well the 38 kept up with the 84 that was on his outside. Ryan Beagle going to try to make that pass up top. Susie going to slide it up to the high side and block that run from Beagle, but it allows Plant to pull some momentum on the inside. The 38 of Susie will hit the wall that time. Plant way low, going to try to slide job all the way up. At least he gets Ryan Beagle. They're going to split him down. Plant's going to fall back to 4th place. 84 got around him a little bit squirrely out of turn number 4. You saw it on your screen there. Yellow flag back out on the racetrack.
It's Davidson and Meisler this time. Back out of turn 4. They get turned around. It looks like Rule was also involved. We'll take a look back at the course and see what happens to involve these guys in this one. And very jumbled down the backstretch. Giroux and Matthews make contact. Then Davidson. Oh, he just goes down the racetrack from the attic to the basement. And there was already a car there, Dylan. I'm sorry. But unfortunately, that one's all on Dylan as he got messed up. Tried to go from the top to the bottom. And Gruhl was already there. And unfortunately, it collects Dean Meitzler entirely innocent in all of that. And was he not happy out of that one? Or was he just trying to get his spot back?
It looked like he might have been just trying to get a spot back here.
No, that was unhappiness right there. And I'm sorry, but Brandon Gruhl did nothing wrong. I'll have to take a side on that one because as much as I love Dylan Davidson, he went from the top side to the bottom and a car was already there.
I mean, you're absolutely right. He just came right down, and that's unfortunate. In a regular big block, no mirrors, iRacing somehow, obviously iRacing lets you have mirrors on your cars, which is really great. It's a good benefit, but at the same time, you should have known, and you should have been a little more patient and forgiving on the rest of them to when you're charging like that. But obviously, caught up a couple guys that were very innocent, and you can avoid that kind of thing. So, not sure what the aggression was about. Obviously, when you're in the driver's seat, the emotions come out a little more than when you're watching from the outside, but tough break for all those guys at the tail.
Coming to yet another restart, we're now going to have, 14 laps to go once we take the green flag. It's 26 coming to 27. We are off and away. And Hebert, not as big of a restart. Susie hanging right with him. What can Susie do up on the top side? He might be able to bring the fight to him. Yes! He's gonna nose ahead, side by side, down the backstretch. Can Hebert throw a big slider? He's gonna try. Susie's gonna cross him up. Can he get that lead back? Oh my, a caution flag again.
That was the best race for the lead we have seen yet tonight off of a restart. Susie was absolutely gunning it. And if you saw, Maxime Plant was starting to shake things up a little bit. A great run off that restart for the 79 machine. We'll catch a replay here, see why we brought this unfortunate yellow out that killed that really great race for the race lead.
And this will be our look at it here. It's Adam Hilton that was last to catch back up to the pacing field. I mean, there's so many cars in so many lanes, and it's just a chain reaction. Nothing Adam could have done, and ends up in the wall there. Yeah, I mean, nothing Adam could have done right there. Just a chain reaction, a little bit of contact, and we got 26 cars out here. 25 are still running. There's not much else that can happen at this point when everybody's getting to these latter stages of the race, and I mean, we're now down to about 10 to go, just over 10 to go. Everybody's racing for everything they can get. Again, still 25 cars on the racetrack. There's going to be some kind of contact.
Yeah, there are a lot of cars on track, and we've had a lot of yellows in this event that's been keeping the whole field bunched up. And unfortunately, like you said, a chain reaction, just one little bit of contact between two cars, and you get squirrely, you try to recover, and you get a little loose, you go down the track, and unfortunately somebody's there. Just nothing Adam could have done, or no blame to put on him. And even if the wall hadn't have been jutting out the way it was, I think Adam would have been okay. I think they've set it now to single file restarts as a result, though. So that's really great to see. That'll definitely help get the field spread at the green flags.
Coming back to a green flag, single file now is, everybody down the racetrack at a 4 trying to get momentum on their side. They race by the speed shot and through 1 and 2. Hebert's trying to pull away, and I mean, unfortunately, it's going to really nullify anything that Susie can do on these restarts because it just throws the restarts to the hand of Kevin Hebert. But the race for second on back is on because now Plant down to the bottom side of Beagle, and he's going to throw a big slider into 1 and 2. Beagle going to cross him back up and side by side down the backstretch once more. It's 29 to 40.
Ryan Beagle throws it in. The 84 goes way to the bottom. Susie up top is going to have some pressure on the inside. 79 with the momentum gets into third place momentarily. Through turn 1 they go this time. Top side's the way to go. Riding the cushion. Susie going to fall back to 4th spot. Now Plant going to maybe try to put a big slider on the 38. It gets done so far, hits the wall. I was waiting for Susie to do the crossover. Not going to happen that time. Move the 79 back up into the runner-up position. Charging on Hebert up front.
Seems like the Frenchies up front starting to pull away, so really the fight's third on back at this point. Susie falling back the order, and he's in the wall a bit. You can see him turning left. You want to be trying to hold the wheel straight or turning to the right even through the center of the corner. He was making a hard left turn right there to keep going. Eisel working the bottom side. He's the only one doing so as there's contact up ahead. Can he capitalize on this? This is to move Eisel out of 9th and into 8th, maybe even 7th or 6th as Miller occupies that spot. No, he's going to get slow on the bottom side, and Eisel not quite going to get it. But right in front of him, Porter and Richard still going at it. Richard all kinds in the fence, and Porter working the middle.
You know, if I'm Eisel right now, I'm thinking that might be the place to be, to stay down low, because right now Richard and Porter have been exchanging sliders and contact up at the top side. And if those two would have gotten into something, I think Eisel would have been granted 7th position pretty easily. You saw that it kind of single-filed and calmed down a little bit there. We're riding on board with Higbee in the number 97 machine, looking at 4th spot just in front of him. Still running in the top 5, a great performance for this car, but looking for a little bit more down the front stretch. Beagle gapped him a little bit. They're all single file right now, just ripping that cushion up top.
Yeah, you can see 1 and 2 have pulled away, but they've pulled closer to one another. Maxime Plant getting a big run up to Kevin Hebert. I believe these two are teammates, so the fight is on now. And yeah, very similar paint schemes, just a change of color. So I'd say these two are definitely teammates, Hebert and Plant. 5 to go the last time by, coming to 4 this time. And Plant just has so much more speed right now. I don't know where he's getting it from. He's running the same line as Hebert, but he's just so much faster.
You know, Plant might have a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder. That restart that caught him out way back with that small amount of contact might have... Whoa, they both ran in the wall. That's going to kill all the momentum. Getting all the way up in the wall and basically riding it the whole way down the backstretch was Plant that time. There's still time left in this race, about 2 laps left for Plant to get back up to the tail of the 71. If he can keep the speed that Andrew was just mentioning, he seems to have a lot more of. Oh, Hebert hit the wall there. Oh, we're going to look for a slider of the 79 coming down the inside, all the way up the track into the wall, but I think we're going to get a crossover from the 71.
Slide job again. Here comes Hebert. Doesn't quite clear him. Side-by-side drag race, and it's going to go easily the way of the gentleman, Maxime Plant. 1.5 laps to go now through 3 and 4. He's got more speed. He's got the better line, and he's going to pull away and start to work on his advantage. Now off in a turn 1 and 2 again. Another big move from Hebert, but he's just too far back. The final time down the backstretch on Eldora Speedway, and the gentleman's just pulling further and further and further away. Maxime Plant wins at Eldora.
A great race to the line there for those two teammates, and Hebert led almost the whole way through, but like you said, just a ton of momentum, a ton of speed out of Maxime Plant at the end of this race. It came to him. Might have had that car set up for that specifically to have the speed at the very end of this race, put that 79 car in the winner's circle tonight.
How about it for Maxime Plant? He's finally going to get a win on the season. He's been looking good the last couple of weeks, but hasn't quite had enough to get the W, but he finally does. And you know what? Look down to 3rd place. For the 2nd week in a row, it's going to be Ryan Susi bringing up the bottom step of the podium, taking bronze this evening. So that's also quite good to see. And Hebert, he's looking like he wants to go on a championship campaign, but he's actually going to have to pass Susi for that points lead if he wants to do it. We'll see how it all shakes out very, very shortly. But first, we'll talk to these drivers in just a moment. Do not go anywhere. We will have continuing coverage from Eldora momentarily.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. no one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Welcome back to the virtual Eldora Speedway. You see on the replay here a lot of these cars racing by the start finish. This is, it's always good to be able to look back at some of the moments as we talk to these drivers to end things out for the evening. And to lead on that charge through our post-race interviews, it's race winner, the gentleman, Maxime Plant. Maxime, how about that? You break through for your first win on the season.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good night tonight, and I'm really happy to finish first on this season.
Yeah, you know, we've been seeing your Facebook posts out there. It's the first time we've gotten to talk to you here at PitStop TV. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Maxim from Quebec, and I'm not really good in English, but I'll try. I'm a real race car driver with the big nail, and I race in Quebec a lot in real life this summer. And I do a lot of iRacing series.
Well, your English sounds great, and your driving was even better tonight. You end up besting Kevin there in that battle to the end. What did it come down to for you?
Yeah, me and my friend Kevin race a lot together, and he do a little bit mistake at the end, and that's why I passed him and finish first.
Absolutely, Maxime. Well, who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out? Who are your sponsors?
Yeah, my sponsors is CityView. Is a really big sponsor for us. Marek Diesel, Groupe Roy, Agence Lucien Beauregard, le Salon de l'électronique, Toiture Sound du Québec. A lot of company in Quebec. So.
Hey, well, get them that airtime. Thank you for your time so far tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you more this season.
Thank you, sir.
And that's Maxime Plant winning tonight at Eldora. A big night for him. We'll move right on down the line and give Kevin Hebert to Joe Donahue.
Yeah, so here's somebody we've already talked to through this season. Kevin Hebert, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Awesome, Kevin. Well, you already had a win this season. You almost got a second one tonight, just couldn't quite put the closer on it.
Nah, make a little bit of mistakes at the end of the race, but I had a really great race car tonight, running that top side. But really happy for my teammate Maxime Plant getting the win there. He deserves it. I did a bad start with him. I pushed him a little bit. Didn't mean to do it, but he deserves the win tonight. He worked hard for it.
Well, absolutely, but you did a lot of work yourself. The top seemed to be the place to run your car, and you ran out front almost the entire way through the race. But like you said, Plant brought a little bit of speed on at the end. Can you talk us through a little bit? What was the mistake that took you back to second place?
Well, I like running the top, but when it gets slicker, habitually I'm really good at running the middle lane when it gets real slick, and it wasn't enough yet. I tried it on a restart and it didn't pay, so I was a little bit stressed to go back on the top line, and I hit the wall exiting of turn 2, and that's where I saw on my left Maxime Plant sliding up to me, and I tried everything to get back to him, but he had a better exit and he got me, and he had a better momentum on the outside. So yeah, I lost what I had on this outside groove. I hope for a slicker track, but I did good anyway. Really happy with my second place, and it's gonna be good for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. I was going to say one little bobble might have taken you from first, but second place is a great run for the championship. So before we let you go for the evening, I'm going to give you the stage and let you thank anybody you want to here on the broadcast, or send anything out to your fans watching.
Thank you. First of all, the broadcaster are doing a great job there. I want to thank my crew chief. I talked with her during the race. He said that I was good on the top, but it didn't pay at the end. But thank you to my crew chief, my girlfriend, my father looking at home, and also Les gars de course, driver simulation here in Quebec. Thank you guys. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Puis we'll see each other next week. I'll try to come back talk with you guys.
Awesome stuff, Kevin. Well, congratulations on your run, and hopefully we will indeed be talking to you next week. Thank you, and have a pleasant evening.
Yes, you too.
All right, so that was your runner-up for tonight, Kevin Hebert in the 71 machine. I'll hand the mic back to Mr. Cardinale, and he will bring in third place, Ryan Susi.
Yeah, never really thought I had a shot at that race. Last week I thought we were a little closer, but hats off to Max and Kevin. I had a practice race actually on Thursday night, and Max ran it, and it probably helped me more than anything, just seeing how he ran the top. And I don't know how much you guys watched me, but I just was not as comfortable as those two were. So, just to get up there and mix it up, and I had a good run with Beagle there at the end. It was a lot of fun. Obviously want to do a little bit better, but I'm not wrecking the car and bringing home in one piece, so that's good.
Yeah, I commented on you turning left there in center a whole lot of times where you want to be turning either straight or right a little bit. You don't want to be turning left. Obviously, the right side beating off that car. I mean, I know we're at Eldora, but you don't want to quite beat the right rear off like it's an NASCAR truck. How bad was the track to try and work through? I mean, obviously, very slicked up, especially turning the extra caution laps trying to get this thing going.
Yeah, it got pretty technical especially at the end. You almost had to drive back over the hump, and it would set the car on the left rear, and it was almost harder to go down the straightaway than through the corners. So a lot of it just comes down to practice. You can see the guys who put in the hours and the time. Those are the guys that are winning races and up front. It definitely shows, even just getting on a night or two during the week before and putting some laps in is definitely going to help everybody out. So if there's anything I can suggest to anybody else is, throw practice up, and especially a place like this where you got to learn how to run the top like that. It's really very important to get some practice time.
Looking forward to Lanier in 1 week's time. It's another very, very short track, just like Lima Land, where you did finish third. How do you feel about it?
I don't have a lot of time there, so we'll have to do some races this week, and I'm sure Beef and all the guys at the BRP series will put up a couple runs and get a little bit of practice time. But gotta thank, like I said, Beef and everybody at the BRP series, MBR Designs, JM Performance, Not Just Another Racing Podcast, Miller's Auto Detailing, all you guys at PitStop for putting this on the air, and just all the guys. It's a great group of guys, and having a lot of fun here on Monday nights.
Like I said when I brought you in, Ryan, it's becoming more and more true that, we'll see you next week. So we'll see you up here in the booth next week. Best of luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That's Ryan Susi finishing up third place tonight. The bottom step of the podium, and bronze looks pretty good on that 38. We'd like to change it to silver or gold. Joe, as I mentioned in my lead-in, it's the first time we've had you on for a BRP iRacing Series broadcast. How about it?
Well, that was a really great show. I mean, the racing was really close. We had a lot of yellows at the start, and that was just a result of all those guys being so bunched up together. But there was some really awesome stuff running the top side, the middle, and the bottom. The whole track was worked in really nice for the feature tonight. And even though it was 40 laps and it wore out the top side pretty quickly, like we had said, it was still really exciting at the end.
It was more than exciting at the end. We came down to another one of those classic battles that we see up front. Just the front few guys, I mean, the cream rises to the top, and that cream keeps throwing a bunch of sliders on one another and giving us great finishes. Holds true this evening. Let's take a look down our 26-car race results. Maxime Plant wins it at Eldora. How about the number 79? I mean, he's just been picking up speed, finally gets that first win on the season. Next up, it's Kevin Hebert. He's got to win on the season. We'll see how these two round out in the point standings with Ryan Susi, who came in as the points leader as well. So anything can still happen when we go into Lanier in 1 week's time. Ryan Beagle, a big run for him. Fourth place for the 84. Then it's Cody Higbee in the 97. He comes up to finish up our top five. Then Travis the Thriller Miller in sixth place. And it's Thomas Richard in seventh, Jamie Porter in eighth, Gavin Eisel in ninth, and AJ Alberta rounding out your top 10, Joe.
You throw it back to 11th place. You got the one car of Joe Matthews. Matt DeRitter going to be coming home in 12th spot. Michael Hackett brings it home 13th tonight, and Randy Giroux is going to be bringing it in 14th spot, the big show. Rounding out your top 15 is going to be the 121 machine, Tyler Pachalski, and Brandon Gruel going to come home 16th. 17th going to be Mr. Brian Berger, and behind him in 18th is Dan Sider. Cody McPherson had a rough evening at the start and brought it home in P19. Rounding out your top 20 is going to be that 96, Richard Pereira.
And the back 6 cars tonight, it's Dean Meitzler in 21st, then Michael Wenner in 22nd. A terrible evening for Corby the Beef Daniels. 23rd place, be looking to turn that around in 1 week's time at Lanier Raceplex down in Georgia. Then it's Adam Hilton, 24th. He was really good in those sprint cars a season ago. It's not looking so great for him this season in the big blocks. Moved down to 25th. That's where you see Dylan Davidson. A couple of doubles down here. Double D and Double H not doing so great tonight. Hunter Hulberg rounds out 26th. Terrible nights for those two, and I hate to say it because those guys have had great speed, just unfortunately can't put a race totally together. With everything that's gone on, it's taken us quite a second to get to some more of these sponsor shout-outs, these partner shout-outs, but we'll talk more about Bickner Racing products, obviously the namesake of the series. I just check them out. I saw Brandon Hightower on Facebook mention them earlier this week. They've put out some 120 cars since August. I think that's correct, right around that. I mean, that is insane, the amount of chassis they put out at BRP. Also, Rival Powder Coating and Sandblasting, MDR Designs, Butt Kicker, Jam Performance, and Miller's Auto Detailing. And then, of course, we've got our partners to talk a whole bunch about. Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and they will custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. Use promo code PitStop TV at checkout to receive 10% off of your purchase. And if you're ever confused, that commercial we show on the broadcast, on the lead-in, in between interviews and such, that is showcasing the Tucson Sound Art product. It's from the manufacturer, but Tucson Sound Art's the one that puts the canvas on it for you, and they do a phenomenal job. I mean, I can't talk highly enough of these guys. I've got one up on my wall, and I mean, it is fantastic. It holds a charge forever, too. You should absolutely look into it and use promo code PitStopTV at checkout. Also, by all means, check out Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine on Facebook. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. And even before we get to summer where you want to look your best, check them out if you're up in the Northeast. You can get to one of their locations. It's Auburn, Lewiston, Harrison, Maine that you can check them out at. And Ashley Bollier and her team, they do phenomenal work. Make sure to at least look into them on Facebook. Again, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. And of course, a big shout out, as always, to Whiplash Media, handling our cameras, handling our graphic work, everything else. Whiplash Media gets it all done for us. Joe, it was so good to have you alongside of me tonight, but this is going to do it for round 3 of 14 at Eldora. That concludes our coverage of the BRP Big Blocks. We at PitStop TV, thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's in just 17 minutes. So you have just enough time to maybe, I don't know, run out to your corner store, get something to drink, or, I mean, even just run out to your fridge real quick, get something to drink, have a nice little break, and then we're right back at it here in just over 15 minutes. That will be the Pacific Challenge GT3 Series at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's going to be a great one as well out in Belgium. Some 40 cars, as always, I think are expected. It's going to be one heck of a time. And then Wednesday and Friday, we've got Bluegrass iRacing Series and LTEC Cup Series action, respectively, but both at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So an Atlanta doubleheader on the week is going to be slippy and slidey and fun. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at PitStopTV_, and on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/C/PitStopTV1. For all of PitStop TV, Joe Donahue with me on the mic, Corey Rexford over on social media duties tonight. I'm Edgy Cardinale IV. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.